Hi, I'm Brett with Central Cremation Center. We're proudly offering pet cremation services to help keep your faithful companion close to you. Learn more about our pet services by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Andrea Kocher with Willow Missions in Piatt County. Good morning, Andrea. How you doing today?
Good morning, Seth. I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing good. Thanks for asking, and welcome to fall. How'd your summer go? Summer go okay?
Gosh, I was just thinking about this. It was fantastic, and I'm very sad it's over. I love the heat. I like summer weather, summer activities, so I'm sad that we're transitioning out of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun to watch the kiddos run around and do their things and all that. But at any rate, Andrea, let's dive in. We're going to continue a conversation I know you had with my associate, Ben Hubbard, last month about kind of emotional abuse in domestic violence relationships and what that looks like. Give us the bullet points of your conversation with him last month. Just a quick summary.
Yeah, it was super fun to talk to somebody different. Not that I don't love you. It was fun. He was real caught off guard and kind of couldn't believe this is the kind of stuff I come on the radio and talk about, which was great because it shows me that there's still such a need for me to talk about stuff. Because people don't know, and his mind was pretty blown about some stuff.
Yeah.
So last month we started talking about emotional abuse. It's really important to me that I get that kind of message out about emotional abuse. I'm hearing more and more and more from people about how long their relationship has been in turmoil or been what I consider to be domestic violence oriented because of emotional abuse, and how much younger it's starting. Or at least becoming a little bit more talked about with me by younger people. So yeah, last week we talked a little bit just in general about what emotional abuse is. Essentially, it's anything that isn't physical. But the whole intent of emotional abuse is to generate and start the process of causing a victim to be controlled by their abuser.
Sure.
Emotional abuse is 100% rooted in power and control. Not that all domestic violence isn't, but emotional abuse is where it starts.
Yeah.
It's pretty unbelievable what people can create for their victim, the world that they can create for their victim with just emotional abuse.
Yeah, sure.
And it's awful, and it lasts a really long time, and it's really hard to overcome.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into what that can look like and how abusers can use emotional manipulation to control their victims. How about that?
Yeah, for sure. So manipulation is a tool. Like anybody who has kids know that our kids try to manipulate us because they don't know any better. Like they're learning what works, what doesn't. They're seeing what they can get away with. At home, they're testing boundaries. So if you take that and multiply it by thousands, that's kind of what's happening in our victims' everyday lives. Their abuser is truly playing mind games with them, making promises that they are never going to keep. It's absolutely things to get what the abuser wants in the moment. It works because victims want it to be true. They want this to be the time. Likely there was a time in their relationship whenever things were great and they could believe everything that their abuser said. And there's this desperation for the relationship to return to that. So when they hear the promise, even though there's the sense of this isn't really going to happen, there's still the hope that it will. And so playing mind games and making these promises just works, especially the longer and longer and longer it goes. And if they deliver once or twice or every now and then, it keeps that hope alive. Right. It keeps that engagement from their victim where they're holding on a little tighter.
Yeah.
Another really big one with manipulation is truly blackmailing. There's fancy words with gaslighting and blackmailing, all kinds of things. But ultimately, our partners know things about us that not everybody else knows. That's just the reality of being with someone. Yeah. Whenever the trust level's broken in a relationship and that starts to become the ammunition to control a behavior, it starts to be, it turns a corner of being truly manipulation. To go with that, if your partner has been the person to, if your abuser has been the person to put you in the position to do things that are outside your character, you're not comfortable with, it's something that you never wanted to do anyway, and then they hold that over your head, a lot of times you're stuck, or you feel stuck.
Yeah.
Because it goes against your character anyway.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So when it comes to emotional abuse, Andrea, I know you were telling me like sometimes abusers will use like almost double negatives, I guess.
Yeah.
Very, very vague, very vague wording. What's this? What's it all about? What's going on there?
Oh yeah. In our world, we call it confusing behavior, or it's an easy way to explain. So examples would be like things that are super, super kind, followed by cruelty, but kind of in the same sentence. So an example would be an abuser, an abusive person being excited, thanking their victim, like, you made me dinner, that was so thoughtful of you, I'm grateful, I love it, whatever. But in the same breath saying, I mean, it's the only thing that you did well all day, but you did that. So while
people talk to their abuser or their victims like that,
100%.
oh my gosh.
So while the abusive person was able to be kind and showcase some of that kindness they're capable of, the message that was actually delivered was, you're worthless. And continue to break down any of that self-worth or self-esteem that the victim ultimately is already likely struggling with. And it can happen early. Like I've heard about it a lot from people who don't work outside their home, and their partners will come home, and it can be little, asking, well, what'd you do all day? Because maybe their house isn't clean or dinner wasn't ready. And that little bitty phrase can start to really take root.
Yeah.
To then the next day, maybe the victim works really hard and does make sure the house is picked up and make sure dinner's on the table. But there's one thing that they didn't get to. That becomes the fixation of, well, you did these two things great, but not that great.
Yeah.
Just
Are they
constant.
Are abusers really capable of kindness? You said that was one thing that you said that kind of struck me. Like, they show the kindness they're capable of, but then they offer that kind of negativity. Are they actually capable of kindness, or is that just like a front to transition to the negative?
In my opinion, it's a front. Everything's calculated and everything has a reason.
Right.
Everything has a reason. I don't know that would be the popular opinion. I also would argue that they may truly be very kind, compassionate people outside the confines of their home.
Again, is it an act? Like, is it a front? Like, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
a really well executed
front.
Like
a facade, really.
Yes, I believe so. I don't know how the bigger picture world would look at it, but yes, I absolutely believe everything is calculated. I believe you're capable of treating any person, any human, especially a person that you've agreed to share your life with, or are sharing your life with in this moment. If you have the capacity to treat them in this way, then I don't believe that you're capable of looking outside of that.
Sure. You talked about the confusing behavior, the creating a continual state of uncertainty and chaos at the same, it kind of goes along with that, where it's like nice. And,
a little.
Yeah. How about that side of it?
Yep. So whenever I get home from work, I kind of know, I know I've got kids to take care of. I know we're going to need to eat dinner and we've got a schedule for the night. And I can pretty well predict essentially what those activities are going to look like. I can pretty well predict who's going to be in charge of which thing. And we kind of have a flow. Oftentimes people who live in abusive homes, they have no idea what they're going to walk into every day. While they may have the same list of activities they need to complete, they don't know which partner is going to be waiting for them. Is something as small as driving a block out of the way to say hi to a friend, or to swing by the grocery store, or If you get caught when you're getting out of your car by somebody who drove by and you stop to talk to them, if that's going to be enough to set their partner off of kind of intentionally being unpredictable and how they're going to react to situations, that way it can control the behavior of their abuser because they will just try to avoid setting them off. I believe that most of that is truly just an act. It didn't really make them mad, but if they keep you in this state of upheave all the time, you are more likely to do exactly what they expect you to do all the time on their timeline, on what their expectation is, because you've learned it's just not worth it to deviate outside of that.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, Andrea, then denying, that they got mad, dismiss it, call their victim crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, that kind of thing.
Oh, every day, all day long. This is I would say this is about the number one thing that I talk through people with, because when people come to me and meet with me, or finally decide it's time to start talking about what's going on, oftentimes victims, the amount of times, it's overwhelming how many times victims will say to me, he acts like it didn't happen, or has convinced me it's not how I remember it. And now I'm starting to feel nuts because I think this happened, but then am I wrong? Am I perceiving it wrong? And people are truly have reached a breaking point whenever they finally do get to me, oftentimes. And for me to tell them, you truly are not alone. This is a thing. This is a thing, that they have a gift. It's not a good gift. If we used that gift for good, it would be great. But it's nuts how people who truly are not, I don't want to use the word crazy, but do not have any issues whatsoever, have been manipulated so much that they believe their abuser, to the point of making it seem like maybe the abuse didn't happen. Happens all the time.
Interesting. Well, Andrea, I'll tell you what, there's more to get to on this. Let's take a break and come back with some more. Where do folks go to, whether get a hold of you, somebody at Willow Tree, just learn about Willow Tree? Where do they go? What's the best place for that?
Yep. You can find us online at willowtreemissions.org, or call or text me anytime at 217-762-2350.
Very good. Andrea Kocher, Director of Willow Tree Missions in Piatt County, my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Andrea on the morning show.
WHOW.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association, aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Breathing problems can affect every aspect of your life. Breathe easier with Gibson Area Hospital Pulmonology Clinic and Dr. Ismail Bobat, now providing pulmonology health services to DeWitt County at Warner Hospital in Clinton. Dr. Bobat is an expert at identifying and treating pulmonology health conditions. Get the right diagnosis and treatment for your breathing problem with an experienced pulmonologist. For healthier breathing, book an appointment in Clinton today. Call 217-784-2212.
In today's digital world, one medium stands out for reaching America's farmers and ranchers: Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters connect agricultural advertisers with the most trusted voices in rural America. While farmers may scroll past online ads or skip television commercials, they actively listen to farm broadcasters for weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news that impacts their livelihood. Ag Radio reaches farmers where they work, in combines, tractors, barns, and trucks across rural America. These aren't just radio personalities. They're trusted advisors who've built relationships with agricultural communities for generations. Data from the National Association of Farm Broadcasting shows that 80% of farmers rely on Ag Radio as a primary information source during planting and harvest seasons, exactly when your agricultural product or service needs to be top of mind. Ready to put the power of farm broadcasting to work for your brand? Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and connect with the voices that farmers trust most.
Defending Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom today, Andrea Kocher, Director of Willow Missions in Piatt County. Andrea, let's dive into a little bit. We talk about emotional abuse in a domestic violence relationship and a domestic relationship, and what, just kind of the manipulation that goes into that. Let's dive into the isolation side, and then things like dehumanizing, ridiculing their victims, abusers doing those things to their victims. How about a few of those things?
Sure. So isolation is such a big part of domestic violence. A lot of times that can be big picture, like truly moving to another community, moving out of state. It's never worded as, I want to get you away from your family, so will you move to, North Dakota with me? It starts with, I have such a great opportunity. I don't think we should say no to that. Or if it truly is not a move, it can be, I don't know why you spend so much time, down the street with your sisters and brothers or mom and dad or whoever. Do you not want to hang out with me? To kind of start to shape those behaviors by the victim to make decisions differently, so that they aren't spending they don't feel comfortable spending time with their family and friends, and then it grows from there. So once the separation has happened, where there's less time happening with, we'll say, brother and sister, then all of a sudden the language can shift a little bit to be, well, they haven't even reached out to you since you stopped hanging out with them. It was really like you were kind of in their way whenever you did hang out with them. Wow. And start to poke holes in that relationship altogether. From there, as soon as one little something happens, and something almost always does, maybe they do reach out and say, like, why aren't you spending time with us at all anymore? It feels like he's keeping you away from us. To which he then says, they don't even like me. So now I don't feel comfortable hanging out with them anymore. So I would have, but now I can't because they don't even like me. With some very twisted and manipulated facts to back that up. And it can continue to grow and grow and grow from there. The point of isolation is, if you don't have anyone in your corner with you that you can talk to, that you can go to, that you can escape to, or that you just are generally sharing your life with, so they're seeing the ins and outs of your day to day, you are more likely not to notice, not to talk about it, not to do anything about it, not to recognize the change in the behavior. And you are more likely to start to feel stuck. So when those bigger isolation tactics happen that are truly designed to make you reliant on your partner, it's falling into place. It's very intentional.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. It's intentional, and that's the end goal, right? Is to separate them from all those things, from that family, from the friends, from the activities, from all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Again, if you don't have anywhere else to go, you're not going to leave.
Yep. How about the mind games? I know you talked about this a little bit earlier. How about some of the other things that go into the mind games piece of this?
Yeah. There's just so much. Another really big one is giving their partners a silent treatment. But like really giving the silent treatment. Truly, people can go days in their home without their partner exchanging a word with them. If you are already living in a home where you feel less than, where you are not comfortable in your own skin, where you're walking on eggshells, where you're terrified to make certain moves or make certain choices, whether it be what's to have for dinner versus where you're going to go, and then the other half in your household increases the tension by truly refusing to talk to you. So then there's no clue on how they're going to react when they do, or what's causing it. It is an incredibly powerful tool that abusive people use, and it is destructive for victims.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Andrea, let's finish up. I got a few minutes yet still
For sure.
here with you. Ridiculing, making fun of their victim. How about that side of it?
Yep, for sure. So the best way to absolutely destroy a person's self-worth, self-esteem, and their own thoughts and feelings to make them more and more reliant on another person is to truly go to the root core of who they are, the things that they believe in, whether it be religious or otherwise. The feelings that they have toward people, their family members, their true thoughts and things they've shared with their partner. If an abusive person can tear those down and make fun of them and make them second guess truly who they are, all pieces of self-worth and willingness to get out of a terrible relationship start to fade away pretty fast. Included with that typically comes some pretty serious name calling to back up. A lot of times it backs up the thoughts and feelings. A big tool is to humiliate people in public. It's twofold. Number one, continues to destroy your character, continues to keep you isolated. Another one is it's easier just to stay home so that you don't have to deal with whatever might happen in public. So it's an easy tactic for abusive people. Also truly just treating people as less than human and treating their animals better than they treat human beings.
Good grief. Well, and isn't sometimes like animal abuse an indicator of some of this stuff?
Yep. A lot of times abused people will become, many people, not just abused people, but abused people in particular will become very attached to their animals. It's something that they can truly take care of and that can love them back and can be a sense of security. And abusive people know that better than anybody else. And while they don't always necessarily harm an animal, the threat is usually there. There's the abused individual knows it could happen and knows that the threat has either been made or an innuendo about it's been made. And so the fear is always there. Yeah. Also controlling their behavior by making sure they don't get their pets harmed.
Goodness gracious. Well, Andrea, we wrap up with, it sounds like you've seen kind of a spike in instances lately. What's going on there?
We have. As always, I like to believe that there's absolutely no rhyme or reason, and that it's short term and everything's going to be great again. But yeah, we've definitely seen an increase here in the last month or so, kind of all the way around. Severity's been bad. Our phones have been ringing for sure. Wow. With that said, we'd love to continue to help people. We'll make it work. But yeah, we've definitely seen an increase, and I can assume I'm not the only agency. It seems to be. I know Macon County's had some. There was a murder 2 weeks ago, and we don't take that lightly because we know it can happen. We know the threat. We try to get that threat across to our victims too, and I hope it serves as kind of a learning tool for people. Of if you can get out, we can help keep you safe. Sure, it does happen.
Well, Andrea, wrap us up. Where do folks go to learn about all things Willow Tree Missions?
For sure, they can find us online at willowtreemissions.org or by phone or text at 217-762-2350.
Andrea Kocher, Willow Tree Missions, our guest on the Zoom. Network News comes your way next.